We just went through a list spanning multiple decades of the federal government lying, performing experiments on American people, starting wars under false pretenses. And you're telling me that we can trust our government? We can't. We cannot. But you know who we can trust in? We can trust in the Lord. When men lie, the Lord remains faithful. Hello and welcome back to the Christian Mindset, where we intend to live out Romans 12:2 in our everyday lives, and be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. On today's video, we're going to be following up with part 2 of my conspiracy theories from a biblical perspective. Now, in part 1, we basically talked about conspiracies that were in the scriptures that have already happened in history. We are going to continue that, but just from a different angle. We're going to be looking back at over 200 years of US histories of proven conspiracy theories. Without further ado, let's go. All right. So, Category 1, against the American people. Like I said, these conspiracies involve the US government, military, or major corporations targeting or manipulating the American public. Now, 1920s, you have alcohol poisoning. The Treasury Department ordered lethal chemicals added to industrial spirits to enforce prohibition. Interesting. Medical records, and this is how it was proven true. Medical records confirmed by NYC Chief Medical Examiner Charles Norris, later acknowledged in government records. Next, 1932, you had the Tuskegee syphilis study. Health officials withheld treatment from Black men for 40 years to study the disease's fatal progression. Whistleblower, how it was proven true. Peter Buxton leaked internal documents to the Washington Star in 1972. Then you had this business plot in 1933. Wealthy elites plotted to recruit World War I veterans for a military coup to overthrow President FDR. How was it proven? The congressional investigation. The McCormick-Dickstein Committee confirmed the plot's existence in its 1935 report. Then you have the Great American Streetcar Conspiracy. Now, this involved GM. GM and others secretly bought and destroyed electric streetcar lines to force a shift to buses and cars. Court verdict was how it was proven. It was convicted of conspiracy to monopolize in a 1949 case, United States versus National City Lines. Then in 1945 through 1947, you have plutonium injections. Government doctors injected patients with plutonium without their consent for radiation testing. Declassified docs was how it was proven, released during the 1994 Advisory Committee on Human Radiation Experiments. Can you believe that? Our own government doctors were injecting patients with plutonium without their consent in order to do radiation testing. Unbelievable. This one's even more unbelievable. Operation Sea Spray in 1950. The Navy secretly sprayed bacteria over San Francisco to test biological warfare patterns. How it was proven true? Declassified records, again, revealed during 1977 during the Senate subcommittee hearings. This one is probably one of the most well-known ones, Project MK Ultra. Now, this is talked about very, very widely in the conspiracy theory space. A lot of people think that this is just a conspiracy theory. This is actually conspiracy fact. Okay, you ready for this one? The CIA conducted illegal mind control experiments using drugs like LSD and torture on US citizens. How was this revealed? How was this proven true? The Church Committee in 1975 uncovered a cache of 20,000 documents that survived destruction. And when it says that they survived destruction, it's because the CIA was trying to destroy all of this information. Craziness. Craziness. Then you have Project Sunshine in 1953. Um, by the way, I have no proof of this, but I'm pretty sure that this is still going on. This Project MK Ultra, you know, it's probably just a little bit more buried and hard to find now. Or maybe it's going under a different name, or maybe they're using different methods, but who knows? Um, Project Sunshine in 1953, the AEC secretly harvested bone samples from deceased infants for radiation testing. How is this found out or proven true? Declassified files revealed in the 1990s through FOIA requests and DOE reports. Why? Why? COINTELPRO, 1956 through 1971. The FBI illegally surveilled and sabotaged domestic activists and civil rights leaders. Now, this would be civil rights leaders like Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr., um, um, Stokely Carmichael, back during the civil rights era. The government was spying on them and sabotaged them. How was this found out? It was through theft and a leak. Activists stole files from an FBI office in 1971 and sent them to the media. FBI wasn't going to give that up willingly. 1962, Operation Northwoods. Joint Chiefs proposed staging fake terror attacks in U.S. cities to justify a war with Cuba. How was this proven true? The 1997 JFK Assassination Records Review Board released the original memos. Now, it didn't say that they actually did this. It just says that they proposed staging fake terror attacks. Now, why would you even propose something like that? What kind of depraved, sick mind do you have to propose staging a fake terror attack in the US to justify a war? Unbelievable, guys. Unbelievable. The Gulf of Tonkin deception. Some of you older saints might remember this. Officials misled Congress about a second attack on August 4th to escalate the Vietnam War. How is it proven? NSA documents declassified in 2005 showing the second attack never occurred. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. The Watergate cover up. The White House conspired to wiretap opponents and then obstructed the FBI's investigation. The tapes was how it was proven. The smoking gun tape proved Nixon personally ordered the cover up. Oh my goodness. This is a big one in more recent history. Iraq WMD justification, 2002 to 2003. Officials cherry-picked intelligence to falsely link Iraq to 9/11 and nuclear threats. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. How is this proven true? The Senate Intel Committee report concluded public statements were not supported by intelligence. Wow. Then you have 2009 to 2011, Operation Fast and Furious. The ATF allowed illegal guns to walk into Mexico. One was used to kill a U.S. agent. How is this proven true? Whistleblowers and the DOJ and the DOJ Inspector General report. Agents testified to Congress in a 2012 IG report that confirmed the tactics. 2013, you might remember this about Edward Snowden, the NSA mass surveillance of United States citizens, secret bulk collection of phone and internet records of millions of innocent Americans. What happened to the Fourth Amendment? Crazy. How was it proven true? A whistleblower. Edward Snowden leaked classified documents to the press in 2013. By the way, Edward Snowden is a whistleblower, not a traitor. He is a patriot. He actually exposed the US government violating your rights, your God given rights. Unbelievable. Let's move on to these actions against foreign nations by our US government. All right. Okay. So now this first one here, it could go both ways. It could be against the American people or against a foreign nation, but this is absolutely crazy. Project Paperclip from 1945 to 1959. A lot of people still think that this is theory. This has been proven true. The US secretly recruited Nazi scientists and scrubbed their records of war crimes. Can you believe this? How is it proven true? By declassified docs, fully declassified by the CIA/FBI after journalist investigations. Then you have Operation Ajax. In 1953, the CIA orchestrated a coup to overthrow the democratically elected leader of Iran. The official admission was how it was proven. The CIA formally acknowledged its role in, in 2013 via declassified documents. Operation Washtub. This is crazy. In 1954, the CIA planned to plant fake Soviet weapon caches in Nicaragua to frame the government. How is it proven true? It was revealed in CIA history files released under a FOIA request. Project Gladio, this is post World War II. The CIA created stay behind armies in Europe used for political subversion. How is it proven true? By official inquiry, confirmed by Italian Prime Minister. I have no Andreotti. I don't know how to pronounce Guilio. Guilio and Andreotti. Sorry, guys. And the EU Parliament in 1990. All right. Then you have in 1985, 1987. I think this is President Reagan. The Iran Contra affair. Officials secretly sold weapons to Iran to illegally fund rebels in Nicaragua. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. By officials, you could just put that as the CIA again. The Tower Commission was how it was revealed or proven true, a presidential commission and televised congressional hearings. The Naira testimony in 1990. This is crazy. Fake testimony about Iraqi soldiers killing babies was used to justify the Gulf War. Right? Investigative reporting. Post-war investigations proved it was a PR stunt by Hill and Knowlton. Something similar is going on with this all these protests going on in Iran, and how they're saying that the government is killing the protesters that are in the streets. We really don't know that for sure. They shut down the internet there, and there's we can just trust what the media is telling us. Oh, by the way, I missed something here. Wait a second. Let me speaking of the media, how many of you have heard of Operation Mockingbird. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Unbelievable. Operation Mockingbird from the 1950s to 1970s, which is still going on. I mean, like, you could find clips of multiple news stations saying the same exact thing. This is what it was. The CIA recruited American journalists to plant propaganda within domestic news outlets. You can't tell me that this ended. This is still going on today. The Church Committee was how it was proven true in 1975, formally confirmed the CIA's extensive ties to the American press. You know, I can go on and on and on about the way that these that that our government has lied to the American people, that how it has lied to many nations, subverted many nations, destabilized many nations, all in the name of the military industrial complex. But the point that I am making to you here is that when we're looking at conspiracy theories and we're looking at conspiracy facts, these are from the past 200 years of US history. Um, then you look at today, where we can obviously tell that the Trump administration is lying about the Epstein files. You know, they said that they're going to release it during the campaign trail, and then when it actually came time and he was in government, all of a sudden, what Epstein files? Pam Bondi saying, "Yeah, they're on my desk." Then all of a sudden, it's a Democratic hoax. Then you have Dan Bongino saying, "Wait a minute, I've seen the files. Wait a minute, I thought that the files weren't real. They were a Democratic hoax. What are you talking about, Dan?" You have Thomas Massey, Ro Khanna, Lauren Boebert, Marjorie Taylor Greene. They forced a vote in Congress, and of course, everybody had to vote in favor of releasing the files, except for one guy. That guy's an idiot. I don't know why he would vote against releasing all of those files. But up until that point, you had President Trump, you had Mike Johnson, you had all of these guys fighting tooth and nail not to have those files released. Mike Johnson went as far as to say, you know what? This could be the downfall of our political system if the files are released in this way. Really? The fall of our political system. Let the system burn to the ground and we'll rebuild it with people who aren't child predators. That's my thoughts on it. Let me tell you something. I had a heart attack back in 2016. And during that time, I got a lot of time to sit down and, I started delving heavily into conspiracy theories a lot. And I actually got very, very depressed. It was my first time in my life that I realized that the government is not telling the truth. I cannot trust the media. I cannot trust what the president, what maybe like a couple representatives in Congress are saying. I can trust that, but for the most part, you can't trust these people. No matter who is in power, no matter if it's Trump or Obama or Bush number 2 or Clinton or Bush number 1 or Reagan or whoever or Carter, whoever. We just went through a list spanning multiple decades of the federal government lying, performing experiments on American people, starting wars under false pretenses. And you're telling me that we can trust our government? We can't. We cannot. But you know who we can trust in? We can trust in the Lord. When men lie, the Lord remains faithful. I just want to leave you guys with that. Have a good night, guys. Peace out.